as your heart begins to slow down. Do not be afraid. You are at rest. You fall deeper and deeper. Your soul begins to separate from your body. You begin to feel the warmth of fire. This is the arrival to your final destination. Welcome to eternal damnation. You are now entering hell.
What the Rock is cooking.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Yeah. So, Matt, thank you for, hold on, let me get rid of that real quick. And there we go. Okay, Matt, so thank you for that. Matt's not on today, but he still made his presence known. So there we go. Anyway, welcome to the original Spooky Guide. Yeah, you're looking at tonight's show. Everyone, thank you for joining the Rasslin episode. So, you know what? Let's it's going to be a little bit different. We're talking about spooky. There's not a lot of spooky news to actually talk about. So, but you know what? There is a lot to talk about. Wrestlemania is right around the corner. It's
Woo!
So we're going to take the opportunity to just bullshit about wrestling for the next hour or so. Even if
me in my happy place.
Yeah, so even if you don't really like it, watch anyway, because you know we're all enjoying a cocktail, and this is just going to be a fun episode. So first of all, welcome back to the Mighty Mo.
Woo!
Hey.
Woo!
Hi, how you doing? They decided to bring in like a huge fan and somebody who knows everything about wrestling, but he couldn't make it, so they called me instead. So, hey.
You know, there's not a, well, I'm not going to say that, but yeah, even if you have one wrestling story, you qualify for this show. And Mo bumped into the Big Show once, so that counts.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that story. Yeah, in a Tiffany's.
Denny just chimed in the chat, and she says, "Hi, Mo."
Oh hey, how you doing?
And then Matt just said 7 p.m. start, and yes, Matt, the event was for 7 p.m. You got it. So we're live. Next,
Hi.
Mike, hi.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was reading comments because I forgot I can actually do this on here.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Yeah. How's it going, guys?
It's good.
Yeah. I'm doing great. Yeah.
I'm hoping this actually works for everybody. Hey.
Anyway, and DJ's watching. Hey, DJ, thank you for dropping by. Always a pleasure to see you, guys. I think I know what we're drinking. But I'm gonna ask away, Mike, what you got?
Coors Light.
All right, classing it up. And Mo, I see you pouring something.
Oh yeah, this is the finest of finest right here. I'm drinking Tropicana Zero Sugar Passion Fruit Lemonade with my pinky out.
And from the jug, man, that makes it even more classier.
That's right.
I'm a big guy. What can I say?
And I'm doing my gin and tonic with actually, it's not gin and tonic. I take that back. This is gin and soda because I have my lovely Winn-Dixie lemon sparkling water.
Hey, that's actually pretty good.
It's there. I'll tell you what, Winn-Dixie's brand, it's made me a believer.
Yeah, yep.
I've had a Publix employee
actually
very
really good.
impressed with the watermelon flavor. So,
Yep.
if you can get the Publix people to cross over,
Mm-hmm.
it's strong. So, guys, before we get into the spooky news, as is tradition, anyone watching anything good that they want to share? Anything that caught the eye that's good, bad, notable in any way whatsoever? Mo, what do you?
It's
Anything?
not horror related. I'll tell you that.
Fine. Shit. Nothing about this show tonight's going to be real horror related. It's
Okay.
you
I
can
am
tell us
watching.
about
I am watching the shit out of Star Trek Picard. You guys know I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I am watching the shit out of that. Everything in this season, this last third season, is like nostalgia personified. Everything, it's like, oh my god, that's that. Oh my god, that's this. And I'm just having a blast with it. There are 4 more episodes left, and I've been keeping up with it, and it's pretty dope.
I've been seeing the commercials for it, and like I'm not a big Star Trek fan, but it looks really, really good. Like I was saying, she was like, that actually looks like something I would watch, and like she's not for that stuff like at all. And I was like, no, that does good.
Randy's in chat right now, and he said this season's been amazing. So yeah, I totally agree, Randy. Man, this show has been absolute. If you're like an old school, TNG, Star Trek fan, it is fan service galore, especially the last episode. But that's what I've been watching.
That's good. Real quick, I want to address a couple things in the chat. First of all, DJ has just chimed in and says, "So where are the women today?" This is no girls are yucky, so they're not on this episode.
He speaks for himself. He speaks for himself. Just FYI.
Here's how this episode kind of came to be. If you've watched the show for the last couple of years, we have a women's only episode that we refer to as the clam bake. Well,
this is a sausage fest.
Well, see, and I find the sausage fest demeaning. And that's demeaning to men, and I'm not going to stand for it. So basically, we did do a sausage fest episode for just the guys. And ultimately, we well, what are we going to talk about? And, a year ago when we first did this, we said, we're going to talk about wrestling. Okay, so that became, instead of calling it the wrestling or the sausage fest, we decided to call it the much more dignified Rasslin episode.
Yeah.
So that's how
we had tons of fun last time.
We did. Allison chimed in. She said, not a big fan of wrestling. However, every time they've had it at Spooky, Emmett and Ellie loved it. Those are her kids. And yeah, you know what? It's everyone who saw whenever they had the wrestling back at the Hyatt.
Yeah.
Everyone loved that. And everyone who went got a huge kick out of it. So, hopefully, obviously they're not going to have it at the DoubleTree. Probably not going to have much anything at the DoubleTree, but hopefully next when we're at the Hyatt, they'll have that going on. So that's cross your fingers, we'll see that again.
Oh yeah.
Mike, what about you? You watching anything new or notable?
Nothing horror, but we did watch a new Bert Kreischer special, Razzle Dazzle, and we absolutely loved it.
What's it on?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix? Oh,
yeah,
okay. I need to check
out,
that out.
Earlier this week. And it's wonderful because we saw him last October. Well, no, not this October that just happened, the year before that, 2021, because it was the redo date. We saw him do. Oh, motorcycle going by. Anyway, we went and we saw him, and a lot of his stuff he was saying he was working on for his new special. So it was great seeing the jokes that we saw live, but they were a little bit more refined and that. And we're like, oh, I remember that story and that. And there's extra little spices added to it. We had a blast. We were crying on the couch last night, absolutely crying because it was so funny. My stomach still hurts from laughing.
To speak on that, have you seen the trailer for his new movie coming out?
And I can't wait for it. It looks so good. So if anybody doesn't know about that, he's putting out. They finally are doing a movie about the Machine, his big stand-up part that like kicked off. Well, didn't kick off his career, but was one of those like that's his.
It kind of did. It kind of did.
Yeah, he'd been around for a little bit. Well, his whole story about how he became big and then kind of screwed it up and then became big again.
Yep.
That's real interesting. But yeah, the Machine is what kind of brought him to the world.
And it's absolutely wonderful. And this movie, it also has what's his name, Mark Hamill in it too.
Yeah.
And it's like it just looks so over the top. Like it's one of those. It's going to be a stupid movie that's such like so much fun. Like I can't wait for it. I cannot wait.
Nice.
Ryan just chimed in. Mark Hamill's going to play his dad, so that's
yeah.
Is Bert going to play Bert?
He plays older Bert.
Okay,
he plays himself, but he does have a young version of him, a guy who actually kind of looks like him.
Looks like him, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's actually playing him at, I guess they kind of tell the story, but they kind of continue on like the results of that story, and that's where it kind of gets a little off the rails. Where
all of a sudden you got the Russian mob coming after him again, and all that stuff.
Exactly,
like, it's the Machine, get him! Like it's fucking great.
As far as his stand-up special, how much of it is with his shirt on?
None of it.
Okay, so it's no shirt.
Well, it's like when we saw him live, he came out, introduced himself, did the whole thing, got into the first joke, he stopped, he's like, hold on a second, turned around, slammed a beer, took off his shirt, he's like, okay, I feel better.
Yeah, it's his trademark. It's his trademark.
Oh, yeah.
So people like it, man. I mean, good for him. I actually considered buying a ticket for it once. So.
He does say he regrets making that his trademark because he's like, now I constantly have to take my shirt off. He's like, that was just like scripted or something like that to where I could keep part of it on. He's like, it gets a bit cold up there sometimes.
He was actually coming into Tampa once for a spooky, not last year, but the year before. Mm-hmm. But it was during spooky, and I'm not going to say no to that. So, yeah. So I skipped it. I was going to buy tickets. I was like, me and my buddy Lowe, we were going to go and see it, but it's like, nah, not during spooky.
No, but
so
it was a really good. If you ever get to see him, I highly recommend it. Like he is amazing live. He really is.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
What about you, Rob? What are you watching, man?
I've watched 2 movies in the last week. One sucked. It's a South African horror movie called Gaia, and it's basically here's the deal. It's a low budget movie. The practical effects for the makeup are fantastic, but it's also because they only had like $200,000 to make the movie. There's only so much they could do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like where you think it's going to go, where like the really interesting story that you can kind of see it going in your head, they don't go that direction because they don't have the budget to make that movie. So they just have people kind of going crazy kind of thing instead. So they let
the budget dictate how the movie ends rather than telling a good story.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like this, like cool. Because it starts off on the basically. It almost feels like it could have been the prequel for The Last of Us, because they're in this jungle and there's like this weird, spore mushroom thing that like fucks people up almost instantly and turns them into mushroom people. And, you see what some of those look like, and that's awesome. And then, that's where the effects went, though. That's what the budget went for. Just those couple scenes, and then the rest of it is just kind of people sitting around.
So they got turned into Mr. Toad.
Everybody loves Mr. Toad Wild Ride. What else are you watching?
Fucking saw Cocaine Bear.
How was it? I want to see it so much.
So goddamn good. It's like this is a movie that this movie shouldn't have been good on any planet. And oh my God, it's like it doesn't take itself too seriously, but everyone still treats it serious. Like they do a really good job with the movie, and they come up with like the most ridiculous version of Jaws on land with a cocaine bear. And
that's awesome,
honest to God, I cannot recommend this movie enough.
Really?
Wow. It is the best movie I've seen as far as new movies go, I mean, I think the last 6 months at least, I enjoyed this so much. And yeah, Ryan mentioned it. Elizabeth Banks directed it. I mean, this is the woman who's directed, the singing chorus
Elizabeth
movies. Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks. Elizabeth
Yes.
Banks.
Yes, the Elizabeth Banks who did the Charlie's Angels, but before that, the whatever the
Yeah.
singing movie is. Yeah, this is her, and she did. I don't. And the whole thing, it's not really based on a true story. It's based on an event, and then they kind of like took Pitch Perfect. Thank you, because apparently drug runners would fly over the Chattahoochee National Forest.
Yep.
They would toss the coke out, and then they would parachute out with the plane crash because the planes didn't cost anywhere near what the coke did. And one day, park rangers found a bear that had apparently gotten into cocaine and died. Well, this is what if the bear didn't die? What if he reacted to cocaine in a different way? So, totally go see it or rent it or stream it, whatever you got to do. You've got to see Cocaine Bear.
See, and that seems like it would have been a perfect movie to be out with video stores type deal. Like Friday night going into a Blockbuster and being like, let's watch Cocaine Bear. Like, yeah.
So there you go. That's your assignment for next week, everybody. Watch Cocaine Bear. That's what you got to do. All right. So, real quick, I'll toss it out. I did finish up the Last of Us TV series. As someone who enjoyed the game, I thought the last couple episodes of the show were boring, but that was to be expected because they played it very, very safe by the game, so to speak. So if you haven't played the game, though, you'll love it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
All right. So we've got a little bit of spooky news. They've announced 2 new guests. It's not going to really make anyone run out and get tickets, I don't think, but I could be wrong. I'll share them with you. The 2 new names are Max Laferriere. Max. His name's Max. And he is the stuntman that plays Ghostface in the new Scream movie.
Okay.
So he's like, I think he's the 3rd stunt actor they've gotten this year. So that's kind of like the theme, I guess. The stunt spectacular spooky empire.
Do you think we're gonna get the hologram of Evil Knievel added to the show then?
Dude, if we have the hologram of Evil Knievel, I am so there. Have him jump from one DoubleTree tower to the other. How awesome would that be?
I know.
So that's Max, and then the other is Alyssa Sutherland. She's an actress who's been around for a while. She was in Vikings. She was on, I didn't even know this was a thing, the Mist TV series that was on.
It was.
Spike. Okay. Was it good?
Yeah. It was okay. I liked her. I like her. She's stunning.
She is very pretty. I looked at her and I was like, wow. Also, and then the most recent thing I think that's real notable, she was on Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, unfortunately, I'm not really familiar with any of those big credits. She did have a bit part in The Devil Wears Prada, which I have seen.
I like that movie.
It's a good movie.
Now, is she related to the other Sutherlands?
No, she's Australian apparently. So that might be an interesting get for some people. So enjoy Alyssa Sutherland. She seems interesting. So
absolutely.
Well, that concludes our Spooky Empire news, folks. Going forward, the rest of this is just Rasslin talk. So, if that's not your thing, piss off. Before we completely move to wrestling talk, though, I did want to point out, if you want to go to another convention, if you're not seeing the guests you want spooky this year, which a few people have said, there is a con up in Jacksonville called River City Wrestling Con.
Yep, and they get some pretty decent names on wrestling.
They do. Every year they always have a really good lineup. This year it's June 10th and 11th. And if you are interested, they've got their guest list. I'm going to go through some of the names real quick.
Well, but the great thing is like a lot of times it's not just like a lot of the old guys. It is
No, it's
a lot of recent and actually active people too. Like they
Yeah,
do
no, these
really
are-
good.
Hold on.
they're big names too. It's not just like Joe Schmo, the jobbing boy.
Yeah.
So just going through the list right now, I guess the headliner, so to speak, is Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
Depending on where you know him from. Then you've got Saraya, formerly known as Paige.
Yep.
If you know your women's
Big in
wrestling, or if you know
AEW
your
right now.
women's wrestling sex tapes, you'll know Paige. The whole effing show, Rob Van Dam.
Oh,
Hey.
fucking love Rob Van Dam, man.
Rob Van Dam also has a fun fact. He also got, I think he's with NWA is who he wrestles for. He got his company's Twitch account blocked for a week
Oh yeah.
because he kind of was making out with like his 2 porn star girlfriends.
Damn.
That's right. That's the man. Anyway, so yeah, Rob Van Dam is living his best life. Ryan apparently has an amazing announcement for this week. Ryan, if you'd like to announce it, this could be the debut, but I suspect you probably can't do that. But
You probably
that's okay.
can't. No. Hold off until it's appropriate. I would
look forward to
say.
the announcement, though. So follow Ryan Scott, everybody, for new wrestling announcements for wrestling conventions. All right, Sunday only will be Kurt Angle.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one too.
That's a real good get. The APA is going to be there. JBL
Fuck
and
yeah!
Ron Simmons. Damn. Jake the Snake Roberts, who is living his best healthy life, will be there.
And I got to give him credit for that. He has turned himself around tenfold, and I'm very happy about that.
For the record, an autograph for Jake's only $40.
No, it's not that bad. It really
That's
isn't.
not bad at all. These days, that's great. Then they got Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
Yep.
Who, I mean, I've always said the guy has a laugh that would make Thunder jealous. Like, that is the best villain laugh ever.
He would be a really good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villain.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
Ryan, I can't see. I'll look at your profile picture later. But Ryan's profile picture has the clue if you want to look at that on Facebook, everybody. So that's your clue. IRS is going to be there.
Ooh, that's good.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake, also known as Brutus the Booty Man Beefcake. Yep. Also known as the Zodiac, also known as the Disciple, also known as, I'm missing something there, but again, he was the Booty Man, who apparently he was like, his whole gimmick was he was really like in love with his own ass.
Yeah, and WCW like totally fucked him over.
and his finishing move was a knee lift that he called the high knee.
Okay.
Good stuff. Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh, he's always funny. He is a crazy, crazy guy, man.
That was Mick Foley's hero. So that should kind of explain a few things to you.
Just look at his forehead when you see him.
No, don't. That's frightening. Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Shit, yeah, Hacksaw, man. I remember him.
Guy too.
And he will autograph a 2x4 for you.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Also got to give it to him for beating his cancer too.
Yes, twice I think.
Twice, yeah.
Also, he also beat the crap out of a home invader last year. Some guy, basically I think the guy was just strung out, didn't really know where he was. There was something weird, so they didn't press charges at the end of the day. But yeah,
he had him pinned down on his front porch when the cops were coming, literally on him, pinned him down, held him there until the cops came there.
And then they got there and they did just a boom. 1, 2, 3. That's awesome.
Dan the Beast Severin, best known as an early, I guess, UFC guy, but more importantly, he was rocking a mustache in the 90s. That was a brave thing you didn't see a lot of. So, Bill Alfonso, I know he's an ECW guy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Ottman, a.k.a. Tugboat Typhoon, and the Shockmaster, everybody.
Shockmaster.
Literally the worst
debuts ever. When you literally hear Ric Flair go, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
Falls
But
through.
part of his costume was like a stormtrooper helmet that they painted with silver glitter.
Yep. That fell
Where
off.
do you go with that? Where do you go with that? Bushwhacker Luke will be there.
That's cool.
Melina
I've
Perez.
never met him.
Really?
No, I've never met.
Oh, he's again
Bushwhacker.
such a nice guy.
Really, that's cool.
Still wrestling too.
Yeah, he is. Let's see. Thunder Rosa is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy Bob Orton, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
Part of the main event of the original WrestleMania. That's a name right there. Mike, your boyhood, childhood idol, Jimmy Hart.
Yes. One of these days, I will dress up as him.
Yeah, Devon Dudley and Nia Jax are all announced. So that's a good list, folks.
That's a really good list.
I
I think last year they had Bret Hart too. I think.
That sounds right. I know they had him one year. So
yeah.
That's a nice list. So everyone should follow suit with that. That's good times right there.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they it's strictly just wrestling for that convention. So, I would assume they would probably, put out the red carpet, get some really notable names.
Well, I think,
if you're solely just in one genre.
Yeah, well, I think what's impressive. I mean, maybe not impressive, but they've done a good job of going like generational. Like, there's current people who were big 10 years ago, people who were big 20 years ago, people who were big 30 years ago. That's a smart, to really work with your audience. That's a good way to do that. You get the parents in, you get the kids, you get everybody.
Yeah, like you said, it's one of those to where you could go with your parents and then also your grandparents, and your grandparents have someone that they saw come up in wrestling, and your parents have the people that they saw in wrestling. And you're able to see the people that you're watching now, so it's everybody can go, everybody's able to relate. If you're a wrestling fan, everybody can relate to at least someone there.
Usually, yeah. So, getting back to Spooky, I'm actually surprised they don't have any wrestlers listed this year. The convention has always had some pretty, good names. Just going through the list of people that I remember off the top of my head. Roddy Piper was there one year as a headliner.
My very first Spooky.
The funny thing is when we had him, or when he was there that year, our son Julian was like 5 or 6 months old. I mean, he was,
that literally was May of 2012.
Yeah, so I'm carrying him around, and Demi had been doing Morticia. And so we put a mustache on him, and he was Baby Pubert from the Addams Family Values movie. And so as I'm walking in the hall, Roddy's coming the other way, and just in the high-pitched Roddy Piper voice, as we cross paths, he points, "Oh, look at the baby!" I'm like, all right, my son's got a story, even though he'll never know who this is. So,
mm-hmm.
But also who's has visited, Mick Foley a couple times.
He's been there a few times. That's a good guy, man. He's a really good guy.
That is, Sabrina hates wrestling. I want everybody to know that, because I bore her to death watching videos about shit, talking fucking wrestling. She hates it. She absolutely loves Mick Foley. From the very first time. Yeah, and we have the book. I have to sign it and all that.
That's dope. All right.
She adores this man. And so anytime he gets announced, it's one of those, I don't know who's more excited, me or her, because she just, like, last time he was there, she was the one that made sure we were getting there in time to go see his Q&A and be up front, all that stuff, because she's like, no, I am not missing this. And I'm like, I fucking love you. Like, where have you been all my life? Like, she's not
a fan of his wrestling. She's just a fan of his personality.
Because he is the sweetest, most loving, great person ever. Like, you look at him, you're like, oh, where'd you find this homeless man? But it's because he literally traded clothes with the homeless man. Like, like, that's it.
You know, I've got a Cactus Jack, a signed Cactus Jack picture on my wall over there. The first year he came to Spooky, that was the year Demi was in the ER, so we didn't get to go.
Yeah, because that was 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that sounds 4 or 5. And then the next time he showed up for just like a night, not even a full night. The year we were at the Rosen, whatever the big sprawling hotel was.
Yep.
Where Funko Gate happened.
Carib.
But yeah, the Carib Royale.
Royal Carib. Carib Royale,
He, you know, Mick was just there for like Friday night because he was getting on, I guess, was it the Jericho cruise? He was getting on a cruise, like some sort of fan cruise, like later that night or the next day.
Yeah, that was going out of like Cape Canaveral or something.
Yeah, so I missed him because I had to run out, and by the time I got down to the convention hall, he was already gone. But you know, Dem hung out with him for a little bit, and she said, you know, like, hey, he's trying to get here. He probably won't make it. He just gave her an autographed picture for me. I mean, so I still had an autographed picture of him before I ever met him, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, we love ourselves some Mick.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, who else have we had? Ric Flair. We've had he came for our first Christmas show. Poor Ric Flair.
So if you ever want to watch a really good horror movie, watch his last retirement match. Because that never should have happened. The man passed out 5 times in the ring from blood loss and also being dehydrated. To where I think it was because he was against Jeff Jarrett and I think AJ Styles, I believe.
No, it was Ric Flair and what's his daughter's husband? Former lucha wrestler. I can't. Yeah, well, anyway, but yeah, it was whatever the match was. It's like, yeah, it was pretty painful to watch, according to everybody who's
literally had to pick him up to do spots. Like it was bad. It was bad, but that never should have happened.
He was the Grand Marshal for Gasparilla Parade here in Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
This year, yeah, Ric Flair.
All right, okay. Ryan and Randy just chimed in. Andrade.
That's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
so,
oh god, that match, that was painful to watch.
What I don't get about Rick is that it's like you look at how he dressed and how he styled himself back in the 80s and the 90s with the suits, and now he wears like stereotypical old man like suits from the 70s. It's like not even the right era. Like old guys these days don't wear these clothes.
No, but he's styling and profiling, man.
There's no profiling going on without those clothes. And Rick also, just if you ever want something really unique to get Rick signed by him, if you ever see him at a show, he now does commercials for an erectile dysfunction product.
Yep.
I think it's called Everest. I've seen the commercials for them a couple times.
Like him, Ice-T, some other basketball player or something like that.
So.
Oh, I've seen Ice-T do that car commercial. It's like car insurance, Car Shield,
and they're in like the barbershop or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, you know, Ice-T and Stone Cold were doing commercials for Tide. For Tide.
Ryan says he has his own weed. What?
Yeah, he does.
Everybody's got a strain of weed.
The Godfather has stuff. Rob Van Dam has his own stuff.
Kevin Nash does.
Yep.
Everybody's got it, man. Everybody. So
go where the money is. That's what I do.
If my name could sell weed, I'd lend it out there. You know, I don't know what it would be, but it's a thing. So, all right.
What else do we have?
In previous year, Shotzi Blackheart.
Well, she was coming for a lot of it just as a fan.
Yeah, she showed up 2 years in a row just as like a fan. I remember like people like AJ, you know.
Yeah, we were walking around just like, oh shit, it's Shotzi.
I mentioned to him, it's like, hey, AJ, Shotzi's here. What? And he freaked out, you know, trying to find her. So and it's funny. Like I've run into her in town at. I think I mentioned this before, but we've run into her at Prometheus Esoterica.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she shops where we shop, folks. She was one of us, so that was
She lives right around y'all, right? Like in that area.
probably. I don't know if she's still. I mean, a lot of wrestlers do. Apparently, from what I've heard, it's like the WWE would like encourage people to buy property or buy a house in like Central Florida.
Well, it's because they have the facility right there.
They have the facility here, and it kind of like helps them just kind of stay under contract or something.
Yep.
But like they have their own real estate team that will show them homes and stuff.
I know a lot live in Tampa.
Yeah,
especially the older ones. They live in Tampa.
The older ones all live in Tampa. Jimmy Hart lives down, I think, on Clearwater Beach area, and that.
I got to serve him as a waiter once, like 25 years ago or something like that. Jimmy Hart. Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy.
Oh yeah, no, he's such a nice guy. Every single so one of the last time when I met him, it was up at one of the small hardware stores up at just outside of Ocala and that in Bellevue, and it's that family-run hardware store and that. But they do once a year this huge thing for one of the for the Shands Children's Hospital and that. So it's like they get like carnival rides, all that, every single thing, like your purchases at the store and all that, everything goes towards the Children's Hospital. And they've had Hacksaw Jim was there one of the years. This year was the King. It was Jerry the King Lawler. And then, but Jimmy Hart's the one that puts like everything on, gets the contracts and all that, and he donates his own money to the Children's Hospital and all that. So it's all really good, and he does really good.
Good for Jimmy Hart. Good for him. I do want to meet him. He's on my list of people.
He's also 76, 77, and he doesn't really look it. Like he really doesn't look it. Hi, man.
Sorry, I'm back. Like I said, I'm using my internet has been out all afternoon, and I've been using my hotspot Wi-Fi, which is actually pretty decent, but I get thrown off every now and then. Sorry.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. Mo's back. Yay. It's just, speaking of people you run into, there's a coffee shop I go to. It's this little kind of fuck Starbucks coffee shop, just this little Arabian place near where my office is. And randomly, one day, I remember, I had to kill some time, so I'm just hanging out there with two of my coworkers. Sasha Banks pops in, or Monet. I can't remember. Mercedes Monet, I think, is the name she goes by now. But she was just in there, and my other two coworkers had no clue they don't watch wrestling. But I was like, you see the Mandalorian? Yeah, she's the Mandalorian. So that got a pop, and she was really hard to not notice her, because she just had her blue hair going. She's small, but she's ripped.
Oh yeah, so she is.
She got guns.
She'll definitely kick my ass.
Yeah, without question. So wrapping up a few other people, the Nasty Boys. They suck, but they have been spooky.
Yes, they were there that year, that our first year when Piper was there. And I have a picture. It was my one picture with Piper, and then right next to that, I went and got a picture with the Nasty Boys, and I had their jacket on that. And goddamn, they smelled horrible. And the whole entire time, they were hitting on Lita Ford, who was at the table next to them, and she was getting pissed.
Yeah, no. Well, I remember they were trying to get me to buy an autograph by flirting with Demi. And it's I'm trying to figure out what the motivation is, how they thought that was going to work. I mean, it's first of all, I'm not going to buy shit from you in the first place. But it's trying to mess with my wife, that's not going to work either. I don't know. They did not seem to impress me on any level whatsoever.
Yeah.
So let's see. And again, there's been tons over the years. I don't even have the full list. We had the Blade and Bunny at the last show.
They were awesome. They were awesome people.
Heard nothing but good things about them.
They were really, really personable. They were really nice. I really enjoyed meeting them. They were a great couple.
I was gonna say, I heard lots of good things about them. I'm not really big into AEW and that. I need to get bigger into it and that. But yeah, no, I've only heard nothing but great things from them, that they're just super nice, down to earth. They're not trying to not trying to kayfabe it up or anything. Well, pretty much kayfabe's dead at this point, but like they're not trying hard to not be, to be wrestlers. They're just really, really down to earth, nice people.
Yeah.
I
actually started watching.
Again,
I'm sorry.
there's nothing. I'm just going to drop one more name because again, there have been, there's somebody every year. But Bushwhacker Luke, he's at the River City, and Luke showed up. I think actually as a guest of
Tanner. I think that one year, right? Yeah.
Tanner and Shannon.
Because he was over near Tanner's booth, right at the Hyatt. It was because Tanner's booth was in like the middle section in the corridor area, and he was set up right next to him.
Yeah, just real quick commenting from the chat. DJ just mentioned there's a shop over by her, and called Retro Rat, where they have wrestling events in the back and have guests. Sasha will be at MegaCon. It's actually funny that the place called Retro Rat because just fun little fact here. The women that get picked up by that you try to hook up with wrestlers at events, they're called ring rats. So just whenever you hear about wrestlers who are going to hook up with a rat, they're just talking about the women who they sleep with on a regular basis. So there's your fun fact of the day. Randy mentioned that Butcher the Blade, one of them has a horror movie podcast. Oh, that's interesting to know. We should have some synergy there, I think.
We should have a horror movie podcast.
Yeah, let's do that one. All right. So, DJ, one last thing. Spooky had Karrion Kross, and that's right. Karrion Kross. I think he showed up.
Hey, also had the Demon, the 2-match short-lived gimmick from Kiss on WCW.
Yeah.
Remember, he was there. He was in the hallway of the Funko Pop thing.
Dale Tornberg. God, why do I know that? And Ryan kind of works with them, and he just mentioned Blade has an 80s action movie podcast called A Slice of Cinema. So there we go. Message solved. Anyway, so real quick, I think we've already dropped a few wrestling stories. I know we all have a couple, but if anyone wants to share a quick one, I'm just going to, this is one I have shared on a couple occasions before. And the funny thing is, I think pretty much if you live in Florida, you've bumped into a couple wrestlers somewhere. Because as we mentioned,
some literally.
Literally, that's true. And a little bit different, I guess, for me. When I lived in Atlanta, as a teenager, I worked at a grocery store that was down the street from a place called Main Event Fitness. Main Event Fitness was a gym that Sting and Lex Luger owned.
Yep. Because
so as a result,
WCW and all that was mainly out of.
Yeah. So all the wrestlers, whenever they were in town or whatever, they would go work out. They'd go work out at Main Event Fitness, and then sometimes they would hit my gym or my grocery store for their Gatorade or for their protein bars, because that's how they put on the muscle. They eat protein bars.
And their vitamins, the same to players.
And then vitamins. You vitamins and protein bars. That's how you put on mass. So while I was there, it's I met Kevin Nash, met him, met Randy Savage a lot. Randy Savage was in my store for a month, and he was cool because he actually remembered me. Week in and week out, he'd come back. And one time I mentioned I was going to New Jersey to visit my sister. 2 weeks later, he comes in my line, "Hey brother, how was Jersey?" So I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." Randy remembered. But the funniest story from all of that was Johnny B. Bad. He wasn't Johnny B. Bad and Sable popped in one day. And nobody knew who Sable was yet. She wasn't, I don't think this was still before she was on TV. And I just remember it's there was, a couple of women at my store were hitting on him because they just thought, "Ooh, you're Johnny B. Bad." And he's like, "And I'm here with my wife." And there's her. And, when you look at Sable back then, it's just you are literally everything porn has told me I love about women. That's what it was. And so it was hard to not go this woman's just absolutely gorgeous. So.
No, she was absolutely gorgeous and could kick your fucking ass.
Sable? No, Sable couldn't do a goddamn thing.
Have you seen some of the matches she did? She was good.
No, she wasn't.
No, she was.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
I see.
I think you two should go ahead and actually fight and see what comes up with
See,
that.
that
No,
would
I'm just
be
kidding.
like Big and Little Enos Burdett fighting.
All right, I get to be Horace Hogan, or Hulk's retarded brother. That's that was a character. Hey. All right. What about you guys? Any quick stories you want to share?
I was gonna say Mo go first. Neighbors' dogs are out, so just barking.
Oh shit! Of course you'd ask me, because I have barely any.
You got one great one though. You got two good ones.
I think I do. Yeah, maybe. I've led a fucked up life. I was at Tiffany's once, right? So I knew the security guard that was there, and we were hanging out and just talking, and he was just basically, at Tiffany's over in Tampa, and they were, very prompt, and he's got a suit on and whatnot. And I'm like, hey man, I'll see you later, okay? And he's like, oh, okay, dude, that's cool. And I go and I turn around and I start exiting the store. And I bump into, and this never happens. Like, usually when somebody bumps into me, they bump into my chest or something like that. I bump into somebody's sweaty chest, and I'm like, what the fuck? What? Oh, hey, Show, what's up? I see Big Show. That never happens, and that scared the shit out of me. He's a big dude. So
for anyone who doesn't know the Big Show, he's like they tried to bill him as Andre the Giant's son in WCW years ago because he's like 7 feet tall, 7'1", around. Legitimately, when he got heavy, he got up to like 500 pounds. He's a big dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's huge.
And he had a TV show, a sitcom, a really bad one, the Big Show.
Yep.
And he's a huge D&D fan. So
oh yeah, huge.
You know me.
And perhaps most importantly, he was Captain Insano in The Waterboy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There has been talk about him, and he's actually brought it up about doing a match as Captain Insano, which would be fucking.
I think he actually did. Because I know after he went to AEW, I didn't see it, but he did dress up as Captain Insano. I don't know if he did a match or not, but he was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't follow AEW that much. So he might have.
Truth be told, I don't really follow much of anything. I just, I catch bits and pieces and I get updates. Because once you search one thing, the algorithms out there just keep sending
them along. Apparently he did it in AEW. Yeah. So, but still,
that's fucking awesome. Does he still actually go out and like maybe do any exhibition or anything like that? He probably doesn't have to, but
no, I think he does some announcing and I think he'll have like one or two more matches left in him somewhere, but effectively he's done. That dude's got more money in his bank than he needs to. He doesn't need to wrestle it in high school gymnasium,
Oh, of course not. No.
Mike, you got anything good?
I got a couple good. So, which one do we want to start out with? Like, how deep do we want to go?
We're not going to go too deep tonight. Let's, because I honestly, fun fact, just for everyone watching, we are going to do this, I think, one more time, probably later in the summer. We do have a few people who wanted to be on this episode and couldn't, but we are going to do an early morning episode. Not early morning, before noon. But for those of you who know who Dave Dent is, he's a noted Englishman who treks from England. That would make sense. From England to the United States for his convention tours. And he's expressed interest in, jumping on. So we will bring him on for an episode. But again, since he is in, another time zone, a dramatically different time zone,
yeah,
we should, Carl, if you want to be on the show, I'll definitely let you, because Carl's sharing some stories here.
That's a dope ass story there, Carl. He's saying that he waited on Jerry Lawler, Pistol Pez, Toho Yamamoto, and the Iron Sheik.
Hey, hold on. Can we see if we can get Carl on? Because I would love to hear that story. Carl, would you like to be on with that? Because I would love to hear that story.
Oh yeah, we'd have to. Yeah, we'd have to show him how to do it. Yeah, there'd probably
Carl,
be
another
a little
time
bit of
we'll show
training.
you.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Yeah,
show you how to do it with your phone because it's the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, another time. I want Burger King stories of wrestlers. That's what I want.
they all ordered triple Whoppers at the BK Lounge in the '80s. That's awesome, dude.
That is wonderful. So one of my big wrestling stories was when I was a younger lad. My mom worked at one of the hospitals down in Tampa. She was a pediatric nurse down there for 20 plus years and that. And so there was one time where I was happening to go to work with her and all that because of just couldn't be by myself because I was a young kid and there was no one else home. So I had to go do the 12-hour shift with her. And so I'm at the hospital and all that, and I'm just walking around because I have to be there for 12 hours. So I'm going down to the cafeteria to go get some food. And as I'm coming back up the elevator, I got off on the wrong floor. And I'm walking around. I'm like, this isn't the floor I need to be on. I turned a corner and as you did, Mo, I bumped into somebody. And now I'm like, oh man, I just bumped into a patient. Now I feel horrible. When I look up, it is the one and only Hulk Hogan in 2 gowns wrapped around himself with an IV pole walking around. Apparently, he just had a colonoscopy. And I'm like, oh, hi, Mr. Hogan. He's like, how's it going, brother? I'm like, I got up on the wrong floor. I'm going to go back on the elevator now. He's like, all right, well, who are you here with? I'm like, well, my mom's a nurse. He's like, oh, well, that's good. Make sure, listen to her, eat your vitamins, say your prayers. All right, brother. And I start to walk away. And as I'm like, oh, okay, I just ran into Hulk Hogan. As I'm walking away, the nurse is going, don't forget to fart, Terry.
That is such a Hulk. That is such a Hulk Hogan response. That's hilarious.
Oh,
yeah. So, he was just full gowned, and I don't think he expected to see me. I did not expect to see him, and it was just one of those.
Whenever I've had to go to the hospital, several times, and I also 2-gown it as well. I have to, or it's just too much.
Carl's granddad did as well. It's
and then another tradition. Another quick one. I was probably about 4 or 5, and it was still with the original Doink the Clown. They ended up at the local armory. There was a show going on. They actually were. There's back when some of the shows would actually have some of the WWF wrestlers go to them and that. And one of the big headliners was Jake the Snake and Doink the Clown. And so they ended up doing a match and all that. And we were going up to the ring because it was the end of it and all that. That was the final match. And I just wanted to shake Doink the Clown's hand. Well, everybody was getting autographs, so he had a Sharpie out and was signing everything. I just put my hand up to shake his hand. I'm like, Doink, hey! Grabs my hand, signs Doink the Clown all the way across my hand and onto my wrist. And permanent marker didn't come off for a month. Like, it wasn't like Sharpie. It was like, those like big metal tube fucking permanent markers that they use in construction. Yeah, one of those. That shit doesn't come off. So I had Doink the Clown across my hand for at least a month when I was a little kid. So, yeah, that was fun.
That's cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I got a lot more. But...
I met the 1-2-3 Kid at
X-Pac.
X-Pac. Sean Waltman.
Yep.
He was at a Village Inn in Tampa once, and I remember seeing him. Huh?
Was he buying drugs or a hooker?
I don't know. I mean, teach their own, man.
It is at that point. That is early '90s, Sean. So
yeah. I mean, this was probably like around 98, 99, 2000.
That's WCW. That's 6.
Oh yeah, Well, no, at that point,
NWO, Sean Waltman.
no. If it's late '90s, that's when he was X-Pac back in.
Okay, yeah,
WWF.
that's when he went back. All right, so.
He went 1, 2, 3 Kid. He was there till about '95. That's when he went over to WCW, did the thing, then came back in '97, '98. If my years are right, I know somebody will probably tell me wrong in the comments.
That's good enough. We're not experts here. Real quick, just a couple things. First of all, Randy's also. Why did I not think of that when I was in the hospital last year? This is the 2 gallons. Randy's not a small guy. Randy's, I could see him needing a second gown. And
no, man, Randy is slimmed down like big time.
Oh, I know he's slimmed down, but he's still.
Yeah, seriously.
Randy, you're like 6'1",
and he's tall. He's a tall guy. Yeah. But he's slimmed down.
Mo, Demi's asked, because Mo, you have done security, you've done everything you can do at a con pretty much. Have you ever, been like a handler for any wrestler out there?
China.
Oh,
no,
really?
Yeah. It was a convention. I can't remember because a lot of those conventions, they all have like similar names, like Fanboy Expo or Fan Expo.
They literally have the same name. Yeah, there's like a Fanboy Expo in any town where they have plumbing.
I don't exactly remember. This was ages ago, and I had the opportunity to meet for a few hours China.
That's
cool. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
That's a tragedy what happened to her. She did not get treated real well, so that's a shame.
No.
Very nice. Like what? Because I never got to meet her in person and all that. Was she a nice person to hang out with? Good person to talk with?
She was nice. And the Demi's actually posting right there, China's story now. I have none. She's just a nice lady. I mean, she was just out there on the circuit working. Nice lady. Yeah.
Nice lady.
She was super nice. I mean, I wish I had a story. She was at Fanboy. Okay. So I think it was in Lakeland. I think that's where it was. And
I think I even remember that. I think I remember that announcement. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually primarily there for the Duke boys, the Dukes.
I do remember
Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard and Daisy Duke. All the Dukes. Yeah. I was there for that. There for that year.
Of course, that was in Lakeland. Of course, you do a Dukes of Hazzard reunion in Lakeland. Why would you not? That's that same one.
At that same one, there was like Barbara Eden, Lori Petty. There's just it was like a mix amalgamation of a lot of people. Yeah. But I do remember, meeting and hanging out with China for a few hours. So that's
DJ also. I guess it may have been that show. DJ met her a few months before she died. So that was. Yeah. I mean, not to disparage her. She was working as an escort for a while at the Bunny Ranch. And she had a hefty price tag if anyone is interested. We did find that online a while ago. I think it was like $10,000. So, now you know. I did want to share one story, and it's just like why people are always kind of ashamed of wrestling, and I can tell you exactly why.
Why are you ashamed?
Well, it's because they're ashamed of the other people who are fans of it. How about that?
Okay.
So years ago, my best friend in high school, his dream was to be a pro wrestling announcer.
Hey, that's a good dream.
It was a nice dream. And so, he tried to do it like others. Like he tried to be a photographer, but he was like a terrible photographer. But he would like hook up with these little tiny independent groups. And one day, and this is after he'd been doing it for a couple of years, he brought me and another friend up to a little town in North Georgia called White, Georgia, ladies and gentlemen.
White, WHITE.
White. No, not White Mountain, not White. It's just White, Georgia. And we went to the White, Georgia Middle School. And that's where they were having the wrestling matches. And I'll tell you what, every single one of them, people in the crowd, still thought it was real. I mean, it's because, oh my God. I just remember there were people there there was, this one woman, she came and she was the valet, she's a big girl. and she's just talking shit to some people in the crowd, as the heels do. That's what they do. And I just remember after the match was over, like a husband was talking to her wife. You should go kick her ass. You should go do it. Challenge her right now. So that was nice. We did a Waffle House afterwards, and that was good too. I like Waffle House.
Oh man, I like Waffle House. It's okay.
Good stuff.
Mo,
I have one request, real quick.
What's up?
Would you just tell the people, the viewers, the peoples, what was the first wrestling match you got to see as a child?
Oh.
God. I used to watch.
Are we
Go
doing
ahead.
like independence? No, are we doing independence or like actual like going with the full on like?
In person?
Yes, because Mo saw a very special wrestling match. His first.
Oh yeah, you remember that? Holy crap! Yeah, I saw a guy wrestle a bear. Obviously, it wasn't a real bear, but I mean, it was a real bear, but it wasn't. He wasn't really like fighting him and whatnot. It was a trained bear. But I was in Oldsmar, Florida. I can't believe you remember this, Rob. Oh my god!
You are the only person I know who's ever seen a guy wrestle a bear.
It was at one of the. It's off of. That main road in Oldsmar, Florida. It was a car dealership. And I remember, no, it wasn't Cocaine Bear, but that's funny as shit. Yeah. And I was probably about 7 years old, maybe 8 at the most. And my dad took me to see this guy wrestle a bear. I don't know who it was. I don't know what was going on, but that was good.
See,
bear
that's
or
what I was talking about.
bear.
Like, Randy, was it a bear or was it a bear?
Bear.
Well, it's funny because Randy earlier mentioned Albert.
Exactly.
Albert was a big, hairy dude. So,
dude, he was. I don't understand how that man had that much hair on his body, but none on his head.
No. So Mo got to see a real bear.
Randy
got to see the other bear.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah. The reason that blows me away just so damn much is I thought that's something that like they stopped doing in like the 60s. I did not know people were allowed to even wrestle bears because that would have been the 80s.
I don't think it's legal.
I didn't think so either.
It was 1980. I want to say 87 or 86. It was what? So yeah.
That
I mean,
seems 20 years, 30 years too late for bear wrestling.
It was a trained bear. I mean, now that my 44-year-old mind can grasp this, it was obviously a trained bear. They did not sit there and beat each other up. It's obviously a trained bear.
It's still a bear.
Yes.
I would not want to be in a ring with a bear.
How do you travel with a bear? That's not. You put him in the back of the station wagon. It's still
train car. They go by train.
Train car.
I have no idea. Maybe somebody. I have no idea.
All right, good times. All right, so I think we're about ready to call it a day. I think those are some good stories. Unless anybody has one last. Mike, do you want to share anything else before we call it a day?
No, not that I can think of.
All right, that's good enough. So I think we're gonna.
I wish we had more for you. I really wish we had more for you guys. I really do.
I've got more, but I'm not going to bore everyone because, again, we're actually going to do it again. I know somebody out there enjoys it.
It's only an hour show.
We still have something. We still have something for the people. So, everyone who's here, we got Allison. Thank you. I've enjoyed. I'm glad you've enjoyed the stories. Demi's here. Carl's here. Randy's here. We're going to play, and you're all invited. Invite your friends. Tell your family. We're going to play a round of the Rotten Tomatoes game with the special, folks. This is the wrestling horror movies. Horror movies, or most of them are in that vein. There's a few where we veer off here and there. But we're doing wrestlers in scary movies, and you got to guess the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Well,
So
half the time, any movie that a wrestler does is scary, whether it's supposed to be or not.
You know, maybe not. There definitely are. Well, you know, there's a few good ones in here. We'll discuss. But
I like Peacemaker. It's not horror, but
Peacemaker was great. John Cena.
Yeah.
John Cena is quite talented as a comedic actor. John Cena is quite good.
Yes.
We like our John Cenas.
Yeah.
So again, just as a reminder to anyone who doesn't quite remember how Rotten Tomatoes works, it's not an aggregate system. They don't judge it by, you know, is this like if a movie gets 95%, that doesn't mean it's like one of the greatest movies of all time. It just means generally everybody enjoys it. The movies get ranked by a thumbs up or a thumbs down, basically. So if 100 people gave it a thumbs up, even if it's not a great movie, it's just good, that would give it a high score. And again, the example I always give is Dave, starring Kevin Kline, where he plays the president and a guy who plays a president impersonator.
I remember that movie.
Got a 96 or 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. Not the greatest movie ever, but everyone will watch it and go, oh, yeah, it's okay.
All right, give me 1 second while you're explaining.
But yeah, no. They have two different scores. They have critics. They have a critics score and they have a fan score. So I mean, I'm going through that right now. I just watched I had an early screening of the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, how was it?
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it. I think you'll like it too. But I mean, I liked it. There's a lot of mixed reviews out there. People are expecting Godfather to come out, but no, this is a fucking Dungeons and Dragons fantasy funny film.
Okay.
It is not.
Mo, you're
but
gonna
anyway,
love this.
Go ahead.
Real quick, and I will jump into the game. I'm just going to share this one story with Mo because he'll appreciate this. My real job, I'm director of marketing for a legal services company. It's a really boring job because we're just selling things that lawyers need, reports, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a giant workers' compensation conference in Orlando that we go to once a year. And the theme, they always have a theme because, you know, yeah, these are boring conventions, but they still have themes. And it's get into the game where they want everyone to have, you know, like a sports theme at their table. We are doing a Dungeons and Dragons theme at our table for get into the game. So
cool.
Yeah,
right on, man.
We're making custom made, you know, dice and all sorts of good stuff. All right. There we go. So we're going to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, the first movie on the list tonight is See No Evil. It was actually a WWE produced movie, a slasher film starring Kane.
Yep.
Now we're asking again. We're asking for the critics score here, not the fan score. So what do you think critics thought of the slasher movie See No Evil, once again starring Kane? And I will let you know that the movie was successful enough that they made a sequel.
Well, see, I also know that the critics tore that one to shit. They tore it to shit.
You can go first, Mike, if you
35.
want. Damn it, you took mine.
Okay, 42.
No.
Yeah,
You can
35,
stick with the
35.
35. I was gonna go. Yeah, I was gonna go 30. 25 to 30. 25. I'm gonna go 25.
25. Mike, what'd you say?
35.
30. All right. So Mo wins on the panel. Demi wins in the chat. Demi said 6. See No Evil, starring Kane, who is also currently the mayor of Knox County, Kentucky.
He's been for a couple of years.
Yeah, for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years now. It got a 9.
Yeah. I was going to say the critics tore it apart.
Yeah. But again, it was successful enough that they said, you know what, we're going to make one more of these.
Because you had enough wrestling fans that went and saw it.
I've heard, it's from what I've heard from the horror fans who've seen it, they said it's a generic slasher, but it's really not. it's no worse than most of them that are like that. So
No, but the thing is they worked it up so much on TV and that about it coming out and all that I think they kind of oversold it, and everything was expected to be up here, and it turned out to be.
How do you oversell it? Yeah, DJ, it's not that bad. No, it's just a generic slasher movie. It's no worse, no better. All right, so next we're going to do a movie starring Roddy Piper. Now I wanted to. At first, I was thinking about They Live because that's a great movie. That's a classic.
Yeah.
And in recent years, it's only gotten like much more accurate, or it's just it's
a cult classic. It's a cult classic. It really is.
And people they've appreciated it more and more as time goes on. However, we're going to talk about a different Roddy Piper movie. We're going to talk about Hell Comes to Frogtown, where Roddy Piper plays basically it's a post-apocalyptic future where there are giant frog mutants, and Roddy Piper is battling them essentially. Yes, Carl, I knew you would know Hell Comes to Frogtown.
What the fuck?
I've never seen that one. Never seen that one. So
Hell Comes to Frogtown, because I can't remember his name is like Mike Hell or something like that. I can't remember. But this actually was like a standard on USA Up All Night. Like Rhonda Shear would announce this movie.
Really?
All right. So Mo, what do you think? Hell Comes to Frogtown. Oh, Mo, you just muted yourself. Mo, you're mute. Yep.
I was about to look up the movie to see, I almost Googled it. I almost Googled it because I'm actually genuinely curious about it. But then I remembered when I usually Google something, the
Rotten
Tomatoes will come up. So I didn't do that. Hell Comes to Frogtown. That one I'm gonna say probably got a 6%.
Real quick, Carl knew it. Sam Hell. And then Demi chimed in as in, what in the Sam Hell?
So Mo, you going 6 on that one?
I seriously, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 6%.
Well, at that point, I'm gonna give it a little bit higher. I'm gonna say 42.
42. All right. Well,
who knows? Probably gonna be horrible.
Let's see. In the chat, we had Carl saying 35. Allison said 15. Demi said 11. Randy said 41. Folks. Here's the shocker. Hell Comes to Frogtown is fresh.
What?
56%.
Wow.
So Mike, you got that one here.
56? Oh, okay. 56. I thought when you said fresh, I was like, what? 90? That's usually 90 and above, but no, 56%. Okay. That's actually something I kind of want to see. Now I'm going to look it up.
I was going to say, Mo, really quick, Google it, look at it. Tell me what you think.
I think it's on Tubi. I think it's actually available to watch. So, all right, folks.
1988.
Yeah. So, folks, real quick, your lesson is you have to, or your homework for the next show. Watch Cocaine Bear. Then watch Hell Comes to Frogtown. All right. Next, now this is not necessarily a horror movie, but it has a spooky connection. The movie is Sniper Special Ops. And it is directed by two-time spooky guest Fred Olen Ray. I've talked him up many times. He directs shitty movies. This one was famous for, it got a little extra attention that it didn't deserve. Steven Seagal is on the poster. He's only in it for like 10 minutes. But they were announcing, and the wrestler in it is Rob Van Dam. And so the poster said Seagal and Van Dam.
Yes, and everybody thought it was going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. No, Rob Van Dam.
Oh,
so
shit.
A lot of smoke in the background happening.
I do
he had a 5-star fog splash on Frogtown over there. He did a cross-platform. Sorry. I'm actually gonna give that one a little bit of credit. I'm going to go ahead and say 55%. See, I was going to go
say 55.
62, just because it has all those wonderful.
Because I do remember that movie.
I remember that poster.
Wasn't the best, but I do remember it.
Okay, well, this was a bit of a curveball, and you can call me an asshole if you want. This movie doesn't have a Rotten Tomatoes score because not enough critics would review it. A movie has to be reviewed by, I think, 25 critics in order for it to get a score.
You
There
son
are
of a
not
bitch.
25 certified reviews for this movie. Well,
Oh, damn.
all right.
But I do remember them pushing that movie
Yeah.
ages ago. Yeah.
Again, Steven Seagal is literally in it for 10 minutes. And he's, he doesn't do much in it. The whole thing is
Sometimes
to rescue him.
Sometimes I just come in and do 10 minutes of a movie. That's all I have. Sorry.
What wasn't he in, like? As long as he shows up in a Komodo, then I think you're good.
Bows to everybody. No. we saw the same thing. Tom Segura.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so next on our list, not a horror movie, but it deserves recognition. It is, everyone knows it because of Patrick Swayze. It's like one of his classics. The movie is Roadhouse.
Mm-hmm.
It also stars Terry Funk.
Yep.
The legendary Terry Funk, when he tried to retire, from the first time.
God damn, that man has retired.
Roadhouse. You're asking what the score is on Roadhouse? Roadhouse is a bomb ass movie.
Roadhouse is one of the all-time greats. I don't care.
I'm going to say 85% on that one.
85. All right, Randy's give us an 87. Demi's get 89. Mo says 85.
I'm gonna go 90.
90. That's a classic. What? Of course it's going to be 90. DJ says 67. That's pretty low for Roadhouse. Carl, 89. That's right, Carl. That's the direction.
Yo, anytime I kick something, I go Roadhouse.
Allison hasn't seen Roadhouse. The fuck? Her husband says 90, but I think her husband now says you need to watch Roadhouse. I'd like to.
Yo,
okay.
Roadhouse? What?
In one of the miscarriages of justice, the great ones of all time, Roadhouse only has 41% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You see?
Did the people even watch the movie?
That's
Clearly
why.
Not.
That's why the fans. I usually follow the fan scores rather than the critic scores because critics.
The fan scores will now intentionally bomb a movie if they don't like it, though. That's the problem. People are assholes, so they fuck that up. All right.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. It's true.
All right. So next, I ain't got time to bleed. It is Jesse Ventura in Predator, the original OG Predator. Schwarzenegger, Apollo Creed, and Jesse the Body Ventura.
See, and I really think he did good in that movie. Like that role was perfect for him.
Oh, he was good.
65%. I'm going 65.
65 from Mo. Mike?
69. Nice.
69. Oh, what an asshole. Okay, we got Allison at 95, Randy 84, Carl 85.
I'm not the asshole that put a movie on here that wasn't even ranked, so. Like.
DJ says 60. All right, well, the winner in this case is actually going to be Randy squeaks into it. Predator, ladies and gentlemen, fresh at 80%.
Good.
Nice.
All right.
The one that started it all.
So this is a more recent movie, and it was directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalama Ding Dong?
That's him, too. And it starred Dave Bautista. The movie is Knock at the Cabin Door.
Oh, yes.
And this came out just last year.
Oh,
yep.
That's out already?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
already came.
I kind of want to see that.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
I'm going to go 65 on that one as well. Because I don't know, but I do want to see that.
I'm with you, Mo. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it.
I met Poncho at Volcon. Poncho
and Lefty?
Oh. Okay, Allison says 40. Carl says 60. Randy at 77. Mike, what do you got for us?
Oh, I think I said 78.
78. The winner is Mo. The movie scored 67%. It actually, truth be told,
Demi got
that on the
67.
nose. That's true.
Yeah, Demi
It's
got
actually,
7.
here's the thing. I think, excuse me, it's a good movie. I think it got the score just because, and for good reason, a lot of people don't like M. Night Shyamalan. And so I think a few critics might be a little biased and gave it a lower score than it deserved because it's a good movie. So
Good.
Mo, I recommend it. I recommend, again, this is also on your required viewing, everybody. I won't go that far. It's a good movie. I think if you watch it, you'll enjoy it. And our last movie for the night. Now, this is a very special movie. We talked about it very briefly earlier. This is the Hulk Hogan classic, Suburban Commando.
Yes.
Also starring Christopher Lloyd.
Yep.
Also starring, in a very small role, The Undertaker is in this movie.
Yep.
Oh, love me some.
Basically, yeah, he's an alien bounty hunter or something who comes down to Earth and stays with Christopher Walken and
Christopher Lloyd.
Basic, olive oil from the Popeye movie.
I know who you're talking about.
From The Shining.
Oh God.
Somebody in the chat. What's her? Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Okay, we've got a 32 from Allison's husband. Demi says 21. Allison at 55.
God, this
Oh
movie
no,
is horrible.
I'm giving it 15%. I'm sorry, 15.
Yo, I actually might go lower than you, Mo, for once. I'm going 10.
You're going 10.
All right. Well, the winner here is Mo, right on the nose. Suburban Commando is right at 15%.
Good for you, Mo. You get this title belt.
And I win nothing. Awesome.
You win our admiration. That's worth something.
Yeah, it seems like a 15%. It seemed like that would be a 15%.
I mean, it was one of those as a kid. It was such a good movie, but looking back on it, it's like,
Some movies don't age well, man.
No,
Some movies don't.
I don't think that ever was. That's not a matter of aging well. I just think you're too old for it. So
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, that's the show. We're so pleased that you joined us, Mo. So good to see you again.
Thanks.
Back on soon.
Mo. I
hope so. Yeah. I'll try.
And
we'll see.
With that, again, just real quick, we will be back in 2 weeks for our Easter episode. It's going to have a zombie theme because, ultimately Easter is about, the origin of the whole concept of a zombie.
Hey,
So
I
we're
heard a
talking
rumor that Jesus might be
movies.
joining us on that episode.
What was that?
I heard a rumor Jesus might be joining us on that episode.
Jesus might be joining us. That's possible. Also, and just a little bit further down the line, if you're marking your calendar, this is technically the Sausage Fest episode, as we mentioned. The next one after, so we're going to do the zombie episode in 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that, we're going to be doing the clam bake. So I got hooked on a show because of you, Rob. Well, Carl, tell me what you got hooked on before you. It better not be this show. That would just be awful. But yeah, the show after that will be the clam bake. So, if there's too many guys for you on this episode, next month we even it out and do an all-girls episode. And they'll talk about, I don't know, whatever the fuck it is girls talk about, stickers and jelly beans and Morgan Freeman and,
As Eric Cartman said, my vagina.
All right. Carl, you got me. Oh, okay, good. Carl is now watching Letterkenny. Good, excellent show.
Oh yeah,
it's a good show.
Great fucking show.
I actually like Shoresy even better. I think I always like that formula. The ragtag guys, sports team, kind of going to win it. Anyway, that's another story for another time. All right, folks,
that
out.
That makes no sense, Rob.
That's fine. I'm trying to close the show, so piss off. We'll see you in 2 weeks, everybody.
Give me
we're going. Bye.